laughing because George scared Dan Tom, but he didn't really scare you too much, right? I think.
He caught me off guard. I mean, I didn't jump out of my seat, thankfully, but yeah, he caught me off guard for sure.
Brandon Girtz on the phone today. Boston Salmon will be in studio, and Dan Tom will join us. He'll co-host the whole show.
Yeah.
Today, sorry, yeah, Danny's there too.
Hey.
Wow.
My bad. Danny in New York. Danny, are you officially 5 days a week now, or
Yeah.
is that still up in the air? All right, so Danny,
Not
we no longer have to tell people this could be Sam, this could be Victoria.
Oh, really?
It's Danny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's me. Coming up in a minute.
Let me get George's mic up here.
F yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Dude, how much money is that guy going to make off of shirts? And did you see the shirt now?
What's the shirt?
The fuck you stripes?
Oh, yeah.
That guy's going to make a killing off of all that stuff.
Yeah, smart. He was marketing his stuff from the day one of the presser.
Back in 30.
Man, I hope
We're
I
up in
ain't
30.
because I got him.
That's what we deal with on this show.
I got it. I'm recording. I got it. We have it for future.
Let's see.
Oh, don't say that. I'll abuse that anytime these guys say anything with any kind of sexual innuendo.
Bro,
Get that drop, Daddy. Get that drop.
Just say get it, and I'll tag it.
Okay.
All right, coming up. Stand by.
Yeah, listen.
Was that a word? What did you just say?
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes. Our ace co-host, back east, handling all the producing duties. It's going to be Danny, sitting to my right. Dan Tom, one of the premier analysts in the game, an expert at breaking down fights. What's up?
What's going on, man? Good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. Goes, how you doing?
It's great to have you in here today, Dan Tom.
Why is that?
It's a breath of fresh air. I like it.
One wine's not enough. You got to bring in two today. Is that
yeah,
what?
Boston Salmon's going to be in studio today.
It is, yeah. Since we're revealing the guest list, we will have Boston Salmon on the show. And we're also going to talk to Brandon Girtz, who was part of an epic fight on Friday night. And it's available on the front page of MMAjunkie. I actually grabbed it through Bellator. I'd sent a tweet, and it was right there, so I saw it on my phone. But an amazing fight on Friday night, so he'll join us as well. Might have one more guest, too, but this is one that came to me and wasn't able to lock things down, but we'll see. We're going to have a lot of guests this week because next week is the monstrous UFC 214 card.
Finally.
So a lot of things will revolve around breaking down that card and just all the little subplots. You know, you got to hold the day for any type of Jones and DC controversy that'll come up. Hopefully on the good end. That's right. Yeah, keep that fight card intact, but
I can't do this again.
The weigh-ins,
they better get it done.
Cyborg's
I
there.
can't do it again.
The weigh-ins, you know, I wonder what the odds on that parlay is. That Cyborg and Jones and well, actually Jones always makes weight, but DC, Cyborg, there's a couple there that are going to be tough because California is different. So they've been checking on them little by little, but because California is different, it should be maybe less worries on our part, right?
It should.
Yeah.
But that hasn't
They
stopped fighters before.
basically tell you ahead of time, this is the deal and this is where we want you, and that's what they've asked of the fighters, and so far everyone's complied. So far, so much so that let's not forget Henan Barral. They told him, nah, we're not even bothering. You're just coming in at 140 against Aljamain Sterling. Great fight. How about Jason Knight and Ricardo Lamas?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That's
Yeah.
going to be
crazy.
everywhere.
Yeah, you going, Dan?
I wish. I'm regretting it now. I remember seeing some junkies post about getting tickets when they went on sale, and I didn't jump on it, and regretting it now with the way the card shaped out after everything.
Are tickets still available? I'm sure they are, right?
Probably, yeah.
I don't think I've heard of a sellout,
Yeah.
but I don't know if those 50s or 100s or whatever are left.
I'm definitely going to peruse. I was just talking about it last night.
I'll take a look
as a
right
matter of
now.
fact. But about that card, though, I mean, I don't know. It makes me feel a little better that at least California is the facilitator of it, and not to pick on commissions, but as we've seen with new commissions, New York, I'll just come out and say it, not to point the finger at them, but at least California is more of an experienced commission, so I guess giving your faith to a commission a little more easier to do in this case. And let's just hope, if bad things do come in threes, let's hope the MMA gods spread it out a bit. We had Khabib Ferguson pull out in the beginning. We're about mid-year point. We had Nunes Shevchenko. We lost that. We're probably not going to be able to make it out of 2017 without another big fight pulling out. But let's just hope it skips over 2014. That's all I'm asking. I understand these things happen in our sport, guys, but let's just hope it skips 2014 regardless. I think we all could use that card to stay intact.
Well, George and I are going to be there, and you could almost say we're the guys who are benefiting off of something dumb that happened, and that was the first time Donald Cerrone and Robbie Lawler were scheduled. Didn't work out. Some people were upset. We actually benefit from it because now it's on the card that we're going to, George.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that
Yeah,
one. That one
yeah.
just got shifted. We get Maya and Woodley, and that's another title fight. So 3 title fights because Evinger and Cyborg will be competing for the vacated featherweight title, women's featherweight title.
Did that really just happen?
What?
If you're at Mandalay Bay and you try and get on the Wi-Fi, check this out. There is a little screen. It was just on. It was McGregor and Mayweather.
Really?
It's everywhere.
Can't get
I
away
can't
from
believe
it.
that.
Well, I'm on their internet, but what are you talking about?
I just saw it scroll right by your thing. It was like part of their little screensaver thing.
Well, it is MGM Resorts, and T-Mobile is half owned by MGM, and I'm sure MGM's got a big presence in it. So yeah.
Can't get
By
away
the
from
way,
that fight, dude.
that Ice Cube 3-on-3 tournament, they were supposed to play a final like at 1:30 in the afternoon, and they got them to move, but I think it got buried amongst all the huge news that was out there this past week. In fact, just to clean that thing up, they went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday stop was in London, but the last tour, the last press conference of the tour took place after this show was over because they started late. It was scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and we were sitting there. We hung in there, but then eventually we were over it. But it did go down. Any quick thoughts, if you can recollect?
I thought it was better than the
hours?
third one. The third one was the worst one. I feel sorry for anyone who sat through that one, bought ticket or showed up, all that. That one was terrible. This last one wasn't so bad, but I think none of them can compare to what happened in Toronto. I thought Toronto was the high point. The low point was Brooklyn, and sandwiched in between is London and LA.
100%. I do think
this one was in a ring, a little different.
Yeah, I was going to say the ring, like the production aspect, it's easy to get overlooked because we were so fatigued for many reasons by that point, the tail end of the tour. But if you look at like from a purely production standpoint, from the way the guys were dressed, the ring, the broadcast, that's probably how like the professional aspect of it should have been run from day one. But unfortunately, by the time day 4 came around, there wasn't anything to fill it as far as content, as far as energy and genuine spirit, because everything was blown out of proportion times 10 by the time the third trip came around. That I think nobody really, the fourth had nothing to it. You're like, whatever. Like, they could have had dancing elephants, and we probably would have had the same feeling about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just. I think we're all just fatigued by that point, and maybe even the broadcast team too. But
they did accept questions from the press.
I like that,
which I think they should have done earlier in the trip, and that's where Conor is actually stronger, because now if they say, what's your prediction for the fight? Floyd, will start with you. Or even if they say Conor, Conor can play off Floyd. He really couldn't, because there's a little thread that's been on there for the last week. Can you just take it off? It's been bugging me on the end of the mic. There you go. I don't know. That's been sitting there since last week. But in this instance, Floyd was always running second, and Conor would go first. And so Conor did have a live mic. He did have a hot mic, so he could chime in. But he knew that, for the most part, the other guy was, he played ball and let Conor say everything he had to. So he knew that he could do it, but he couldn't stop himself, But regardless, the press setting is where I think Conor really would have taken it to like 10-8, 10-8, 10-8, 10-8.
He needs
but
that setup.
They went the other way. For one, in L.A., he just didn't know what was going on. It's not because he's terrible. We always know he's a great hype man, a great trash talker, but he didn't know. If you look at Dana's vlog, he even turns to Dana like, I didn't know, I wasn't as prepared. John Kavanaugh, his own coach, told him, Mayweather 10-9, There's a lot of people out there that just hang on McGregor's nuts and feel like, oh my God, the guy just walks on water and does it all right. Nah, man, no, he lost that first one. In my opinion, he lost. It was close.
It was close, though.
But I thought Mayweather did better overall. In Toronto, that's where Conor just destroyed. You got it again. You just gonna leave it there?
Come on, man.
He's trolling you, I think.
So you just keep doing it?
I just keep putting it back.
Oh, okay. So then, they go to Toronto, and of course he hammered him there pretty good. I can't
10-8.
I can't remember at all. I know I scored a 10-8, but is that when he first told him about you can't read?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where he smashed him. And then we go to Brooklyn, where I heard the audio was terrible, but it must have been for the audience, because I was able to find a video where I could hear everything and make out everything, and it was terrible again. It was kind of stuff was on repeat, but believe it or not, I thought Mayweather may have pulled that one out 10-9 too. I think that's where he said, put up your whole check. Then we get to London, and by then I think Mayweather was checked out. McGregor was just soaking it in. It was his birthday. He opened up well. He patted him on his head, so I gave him that one 10-9. So really,
I can't believe he took that, by the way.
Well, but he took it like a boss, right? He didn't like react like Jose would have reacted like, what the heck? And then they would have stopped Jose, and then Conor would have laughed. Because really, what's the best thing you can do?
I think you need to at least stand up, or at least shrug his hand, shove him or something. But, man, just taking it like that, oof.
Well, but if you are going to take it, isn't that one of the better ways to take it? Like almost like, hey, ain't no thing. It's almost like he's laughing. It's like he's checking his bank account going, yep, the money, the pay-per-views are already starting to mount. I don't know. You're right, Goes. He punked him, but the other guy, for however bad he punked him, I guess just minimized. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Either way, he lost 10-9, and either way, I thought McGregor won the whole, the whole deal by a point is how I scored it. But I thought Conor was going to destroy him, and he didn't. I thought Mayweather hung tough a little bit. Now, the points where I'm saying is, if you look, and even in London, I may have even gone 10-8, but towards the end, he did something to ruffle his feathers because he slammed his hand down, and then watch McGregor. I think it was his left hand. And watch his hand. He, looks at it, and then kind of gives it a look like, damn, almost he either broke his watch or really, really hurt his hand. He's looking at it. He plays it off well, but there is that moment of concern. The same thing do you remember when him and Diaz posed off and McGregor punched his hand? Well, if you watch Diaz, same thing. Diaz, he's still up there. They're separating him or whatever. But at some point, he looks at his hand as if to say, damn, So there was something there. But regardless, all I keep seeing is that Mayweather just kept saying, yeah, and
hard work.
But that's not all he said. He actually challenged him to put up his whole check, which I thought was pretty G. McGregor didn't back down, and he shouldn't, because he knows that all he has to do is say, all right, let's do it, and then it all fades away because behind the scenes, he's not going to do it. I could hear them saying it to each other when they're smack talking, and I think McGregor at one point told him, I'm young, I'll do it anyway, you know. But if they really did it, oof, to just give away that kind of money, I don't know, man. The other thing was he kept calling him a quitter.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a very good one, and you could see it every time. Normally, where McGregor pipes up and just serves you up, his mind was, the mind was just churning a little bit, and he was thinking, do I say something? Do I not? Plus, again, McGregor had 95% everywhere. Everywhere he went, 95, 98, 99. Whatever he said, he could have just reverted to Yo Mama jokes. It wouldn't have mattered. He had the audience. So Mayweather was going up against all that. He was the heel. I thought Mayweather also did well as far as like when the chants went, you just let them play out. And then they obviously piped down, and then he would talk. And that's how they handle it in WWE. So he did that very well as well. But he repeated himself. He got punked with the head, getting touched or whatever, getting petted. But again, I feel like he had some moments, and he still lost overall, but he's going to win the fight, and that's that. Now, some people have been saying on Twitter, hey, I'm sure if you were in that position, you'd quit too, And a lot of people have tapped. A lot of grown men have tapped, and I'm sure Mayweather would too, but he hasn't been in that position. So, whatever.
I don't, I think the head thing, yeah, he got punked, but I think people don't realize what probably went through Conor's head. Conor's so used to doing things like this and getting a reaction.
And he didn't, right.
That not getting a reaction probably fucked with Conor more than it did with
That's
Floyd.
what I'm saying. He was just slumped in his chair laughing like he just took it like a champ. He was on his phone. And then when Conor would come up and say stuff, he was actually making social media moments out of it with Snap or Instagram or whatever he was doing. So for the fact that he really, really could have got tortured, he kind of limited the damage.
And then I thought that put up your whole purse is probably a good line, but isn't the easy comeback? Sure, I'll do that when you fight me in MMA and do the same thing. You just kind of flip it on him, right?
There was a lot of easy comebacks, but that was the thing. Like it was reframe McGregor, and to give credit to Floyd, I'm not the biggest Floyd fan, but he did way better than I thought. Almost made me think like, wow, did he remember some of the stuff or the coaching he did before those WWE gigs, and kind of bring that along because it was very basic, like you said, letting the crowd go down and knowing his spots. I mean, it wasn't over the top, but detractors or supporters, I think Floyd surprised all of us. And what I was saying with the refrain McGregor is, I know this is all to build up the fight, guys, but you know what's actually making me excited? Maybe because I'm just weird jaded fan or whatever, but I'm excited for the McGregor book about and for the chapter of the McGregor book that comes out years down the road about just this portion of this fight. Where he talks about what he couldn't say, all the behind the scenes dealing. Like that's what I'm waiting for. Like that's what excites me because there's so much going on behind the scenes. There's a reason why these guys, as far as the contact, which is a given, that's a normal fight rule. But even not going for the domestic abuse hits or certain things, or even just basic comebacks.
Did that get touched on? No, right?
No, he left it alone. But even like basic.
Leonard
comebacks,
Ellerby said it wasn't off the table, but of course, how can you believe these guys? They're all promoters, and the fighters backtrack and promote themselves. So whatever, but.
But yeah, it was real interesting, real interesting. I can only imagine the stuff we don't know behind the scenes with this, with what's going on this last week.
Yeah. Either way, man, I really thought that when this whole thing went down, I knew it would be some sort of a circus, but I didn't think it would be as big and powerful as it is, and it has been. And I think I backtracked a little bit on Facebook saying, hey, I'll own up. I thought I was looking at half of Pacquiao and Mayweather, which would still be a monster. Would be the biggest thing McGregor's ever been involved with, and the second biggest for Floyd. But man, I mean this thing really took off, and it's now it's something we embrace and just say, okay, I don't know about once in a lifetime, but it could be. Who knows?
What are they going to do to heat things up again, though? Because it's going to die off right now. We got other stuff to talk about, right? There's a big card coming up. There was one just this past weekend. What are they going to do to heat this all up again to make us want to be in that spot that we were on Friday?
Good question. I suppose maybe, they'll probably do the talk show circuit.
Is there a...
Are you talking about as far as being together?
Or something?
Yeah, maybe what Max Kellerman does, kind of sit them down, something like that. But, honestly... I'd hope that they could orchestrate this as best as they could, but they may have to fabricate, and they may resort to it. Just
I think
that
they
push, Well, but if they did, then I think the push would have came at some point when they were face to face.
Think so?
You know what I mean? I've never had a problem with a push. I just don't like a punch because you don't want someone to break their hand or get their jaw broke or whatever. But it's just funny how we all interpret the different things that happened. I actually enjoyed Voltron.
Yeah.
Other people thought it was silly. And then when McGregor would say, Floyd, dress your age, so he had a perfect comeback. Well, we've already made our money. We don't have to dress. And he kind of cozied up to Dana with it, and Dana smiled. And I think he may have taken that from Faber. Faber used to tell him, once you make money, you do it so you don't have to wear these dumb suits. He used to tell him. So it's all just in how you interpret it. As far as Voltron, though, believe it or not, I kind of liked it.
I thought Conor dropped the ball on Voltron.
Why is that?
Because you call out for Voltron if you're Floyd Mayweather. 6 dudes walk up, stand behind you. You're in fucking London. Call Voltron. That whole crowd stands up. Go, whose Voltron looks bigger now?
Yeah.
Your Voltron's a bitch compared to mine. That's what I tell him.
Yeah.
And I thought Floyd could have flown in Nate Diaz to one of the two.
LA
was close.
That would have been G.
You know what I'm saying? But he didn't. So, they had their scripts. They had their things. According to Steven Espinoza, they did not fly together. But if they did, it wouldn't have been the first time. I've seen boxers fly together before. It's not that big of a deal. I guess maybe if you think about their crews and stuff, could they get into it? Yeah, but they wouldn't do that. They would just isolate the bigger names with the fighters. But Steven Espinoza says there was 5 planes on this journey. They did not fly on the same plane, so we can dismiss that one. But when in examining Voltron, I like that Owen Roddy and Dylan Dennis stepped up. I didn't see the other. I mean, the other guys I kind of recognized. Looked like Dana's personal guy was in there as well. But I was reading something that said, man, you don't want none of real fighters, which is true. But if it was just those two, or if there was anyone else, I don't know. I mean, Floyd rolls deep with like 6 or 8 that are trained to, a lot of these guys have military background or just bouncer background. A lot of these guys just have size. And take a look at when Dennis steps up, the big, tall black guy just shoves him, dude.
Yeah.
He gives him a forearm shiver, and the other dude flies back, and then of course he comes back. But like in that setting, what's he gonna do? Really take his back, and what's he gonna do where he may not get slammed in the process as well, or where one of the other guys may? I mean, that's a street fight right there if it occurs. And at that point in time, if you're just scoring many little battles amongst the war that it's Toronto or wherever that happened. No, so that was in Brooklyn. Then I'd have to say that was created by Floyd and it worked.
Well, we know that the Floyd-Conor beef is going to end that night with the fight. But those corner guys, those are some pretty big dudes to be taking shit. I have a feeling when that fight's over, that beef is going to get settled. I think those guys are going to get kind of physical. You can't have that many people in the ring. That's the thing that boxing does, man. They have all kinds of fucking people in the ring.
Are all of the security guys usually in the ring too?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just not a good. It's not a good thing, especially with all the testosterone and all the shit talking. I'd be scared for that scrap.
But once it's over, I mean, it depends. If Conor gets flattened, I think they kind of get their last laugh or whatever. But if it's some sort of just to cover up, boom, 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 referee stops it. Conor's still awake. He'll come out. He'll do the what he did with Nate Diaz. He doesn't have to prove to anyone that he can outbox Floyd. It's the fact that he's doing it. I really admire him for getting on Floyd's radar and making this happen and being able to put that in his pocket. No, I don't expect him to outbox Floyd Mayweather. I mean, I really don't. And for every round he keeps going, I'll be very proud of him because that can't be an easy task to just go in there. I mean,
what's the number that's a victory? Say he does get knocked out, but he goes how many rounds?
I mean, if it was completely awful, then I guess it won't matter. But if he, maybe touched him a little bit, covered up, just took some damage each round until it came, I guess, 6, maybe 4, 6.
6?
Yeah. That would be pretty amazing because high-level boxers, will bring on, club boxers, circuit boxers or whatever, and you can just see the noticeable difference right away. So we're talking about 12 minutes, possibly 18 minutes, for Conor to be in there for that long would be amazing. So I don't know, but he's gonna miss pretty bad, and Floyd's gonna see that right away. And you know, unless from 38 to 40, he just tremendously aged. And even then, I still feel like it'll be a whitewash. I just think that, I mean, this is gonna be pretty bad. But whatever. I mean, we're here, and the fight's gonna happen. They're gonna make a lot of money, so I'm happy for them. We've crushed it with the traffic, so keep the calls coming, keep the comments coming, the tweets coming. Let's talk about it. We got another what are we at? 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Of this deal happening.
Yeah.
And by now, Conor, I believe, is in Las Vegas, settled in, and getting them rounds in.
Yeah. So on his social media, there's a bunch of stuff of him at the new Performance Center and playing with all those toys down there. So yeah, he's already getting acclimated, it looks like. Very
cool. All right, so this past weekend we had a couple of events. We're going to talk about them when we come back. We're also going to have Boston Salmon in studio because he was part of the week of events. Dana White's Contender Series 1. It took place on Tuesday, and he was one of 2 fighters who won and got a contract. We also had UFC 113, Fight Night 113, Nelson versus Ponzinibbio. Invicta FC 24, Dudieva versus Briella, LFA 16, Bedford versus Flick, and Bellator 181, Campos versus Gertz. So a lot of stuff went down. Call in about any of it, or Maymac talk. I don't care. Doesn't matter at this point. Man U with the win against the LA Galaxy. Pretty proud of the boys there, 5-2. Dan Tom here in studio. Brandon Girtz, Boston Salmon. Lots ahead. Stay close. We'll be right back.
When the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out.
charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're back. We're joined here in studio by Boston Salmon, who defeated Ricky Tercios at Dana White Contender Series Week 1. It was this past Tuesday at the Ultimate Fighter Gym in Las Vegas, Nevada. He, along with Kurt Hollabaugh, who defeated Matt Bissett, got UFC contracts. So, first of all, welcome to the show, Boston.
Thank you, sir.
And congratulations on your win and the contract.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, big night for you.
It was a really fun night for me. What an experience to witness.
Okay, and what I want to know, though, is did you know the setup prior to where if you won, it didn't necessarily mean you went in. You kind of had to, like, go through, I guess, the secondary hurdle, and that's, being on his radar and him offering you the contract.
I had really no clue what was going on with the whole structure, based off of my performance or if I win or, what decision I get. But I was pretty blind to the whole structure, how things would be after the fight. So I looked at the fight like any other fight. I wasn't trying to impress anybody. I was going to be myself. I was going to fight my fight and hope for the best. And at the end of the day, Dana White seen something that attracted him and signed me as one of his prospects. So I'm thankful for that.
What was that conversation like?
It was a quick conversation. I went in the back.
At that time, you still didn't know as you're walking back there?
Well, they put us in the kitchen. They put 5 of us, the 5 winners that won.
Okay.
And I believe they called Kurt first, and then they called me second. So I was like, damn, I just got the contract out of 5 of us, I think I was one of the few, or 2 of the fighters out of the 5 that actually went to the decision. So I didn't know what to expect, I didn't know if I was getting a contract or what. I was excited with the victory. So when he pulled me to the back and he congratulated me and offered me the contract, I was excited. Can't really explain the feeling that I had at the time when I shook his hand. I was like, damn, this is the big boss for the UFC organization, and it's been a pleasure.
Does knowing that it's Dana White's Contender Series and knowing the things that he likes, don't leave it in the hands of the judges, all that, did that play any part in what you were trying to do in there? I know you're always trying to get the finish, but your dude would not go away, man.
Right. No, not necessarily. When I was in the cage, I don't even think I seen Dana White when I was performing. I kept telling myself, like, yo, is Dana White here? And then not until after, like, the victory, everyone was talking about, like, yo, Dana White, you had Dana White standing, you had the crowd going, that got to be fight of the night. And I really put it in together in my head. I didn't think it was like fight of the night, or I didn't really know how exciting the fight was. When you fight like that, you kind of don't remember what happened in the fight. It goes by so quick, and you only know little spurts of the fight. So I don't know what exactly was going on, So, there wasn't no added pressure, knowing that Dana White and Sean Shelby was there, and I just want to go out there, perform, and try my best at the end of the day.
George and I were there that night, and whenever you see on The Ultimate Fighter, when you see the fighters come out, you know that they're both relatively close to each other before they come out. Did you see your opponent as he was going out? He gave a big scream and everything.
So when we were in the locker rooms, they had a little television set, and they had like the live, they had the live filming, and I seen Ricky run out with his flag and stuff, and he was yelling and trying to get himself pumped, and that was the only thing I've ever seen.
Is that the reverse? Does it pump you up to see him screaming like that? And
at the end of the day, we both got to go in the cage, so regardless of how you come out, or if you yell or if you run out, it's not going to change the outcome about when we fight in the cage. None of that ever bothers me.
You've known about this fight way longer than when it was actually announced. What was it like kind of holding on to all that information, not being able to tell very many people?
Yeah, so like I said, we didn't start getting information until like 3 weeks before the fight. And I knew about it for about 6 weeks. And I told my immediate family, I was like, yo, this is the whole deal. I'm going to be fighting in 6 weeks. Don't say anything because nothing's been released. And just know that, I'm training hard, and this is a great opportunity for all of us, and this is an opportunity for me to sign with the UFC, so be prepared July 11th.
You did have friends and family there. How does that all work out? Like, how many do they allow you to bring? Who can come?
They allow you 4 tickets for the Contender Show. I believe every fighter gets 4 tickets, so it's in front of a closed audience, and they pick you up at the Palms. You can't park there at the warehouse at the UFC facility, so they pick you up at the Palms, and everyone gets shuttled there to the warehouse.
Didn't it sound like he had more than 4 because of all the
it was loud.
extreme people?
Well, because Brad was there as well.
Yeah.
and I think just a lot of local people, you know, were supporting.
Yeah.
But it was really, really cool atmosphere.
It was.
You know, we've seen you fight since Tough Enough. We may have even called this fights, right?
I think so.
And right away I knew, oh, wow, we used to come in here and talk about, you know, I've seen amateurs fight better than pros, and you were an example. I saw you go through RFA, and once you became a pro, once you graduated to a pro, I thought to myself, okay, well, there's a trajectory still from what I remember, but, you know, he's doing his work, but the sport is so huge, there's others doing their work too, right? And so for a while there, I was like, I wonder if he's going to be what I thought he was. On Tuesday night, you were a fucking beast, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, seriously, I couldn't believe how hard he hit. And I got to give Ricky a little bit of glow too, because
Tough kid.
He was amazing, man. I mean, he would not go away, and he actually, his toughness helped. It gave you more time, more audition time, as if we can say, you know, because there was some great KOs that night.
Right.
But his toughness actually helped you out. For one, you throw everything with bad intentions. I mean, really, really bad intentions, you know, and everything was loud and thumping, and you used, like, you had an array of strikes. It wasn't just like one particular, you know, punch that you had. You know, you had different combos. You were mixing it up with whether it was kicking, you were checking, you know, even your defense was on point. There was a lot of things that he was doing that he was frustrated. He really must have felt like he was fighting like someone 2 classes above and someone that's already a world champ. But that dude was tough, man. Hopefully they give him another look. That may have been his first loss, right? I think.
Yeah, he was 8-0 at the time.
Yeah, so much respect to him. But this is all about you. I mean, like I said, that was amazing. And now I can honestly say, yeah, that is the guy, man. I mean, like, I can't wait to see you go into you know, their bantamweight division and, you know, see what you have to offer or whatever. But like, I'm really, really excited about the prospects. That all connected with Tough Enough. And not to say your RFA run stunk at all. I'm not saying that. I mean, you were winning, you're handling your business. The loss was bullshit. But either way, it was just the fact that there's just other tough guys out there. I have to realize that, you know. And coming out of Tough Enough, I always feel like, you know, Tough Enough is probably the premier organization when it comes to amateur MMA. I'm always feeling like those are the ones that are going to smash, you know. And part of it has to do, too, with Rhonda. You know, she came through tough around the same time or maybe just a year before you. So you could just tell anybody that was coming out of there, like, really, really had a lot of buzz. But, man, that last Tuesday was amazing, seriously.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Are your hands all right? I mean, literally, you kicked hard, you kneed hard, you punched hard, you elbowed hard. Like, did you come out of that all right?
Yeah, usually, I mean, I had, 2 fights already, and I ended up breaking my metacarpal bones. I usually always have hand injuries, and I came out clean with this fight. No injuries. Mike, the cut man, you know, taped me up really good. You know, after the fight, you get little bumps and bruises, and I feel better now, and I can't wait to get back in the gym this week.
I mean, did you see the way he strolled up?
Yeah, you couldn't
like
even
a walk in the park, dude. It was nothing. He comes in here, sits down. There's no like, oh, you know, you get up on the chairs like, oh, or nothing. And his hands are, you know, they look good. Everything looks good, and I can't even tell that 1 week ago you were in that war.
Yeah, that was a tough fight. You know, I mean, this past week I was a little sore. I took a little. I blocked a lot of his kicks because he wasn't kick friendly, and he kept kicking, and he kept running. So, you know, better my forearms and my head, you know. I blocked all his kicks, so that was good. But this past week, you know, my whole forearm and, like, the back of my triceps were all bruised up. But that's part of the fight game.
Did you get a chance to talk to him afterwards?
I did not. I seen him for a split second when I walked out, and that was it. Never had a word with him, and then that was it.
Did you, when you went back, have you been able to see the fight since then?
Yeah, I watched it 2 times. I watched the version with Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber.
Which one did you watch first?
Which was pretty biased. I watched Yves Edwards, and I'm not sure who was the other commentator.
Yeah.
But
Dan Nealon, I think? Is his
yeah,
name?
yeah. Which was non-biased, so that was pretty cool listening to that.
Favors was biased?
Oh, absolutely.
Why was it biased? I didn't hear it.
Ricky is his own fighter. He trains out of Alpha Male.
Yeah, okay. I thought he was a Southwest kid. My bad. Okay.
I believe he's from Texas, but he trains out of California now.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So did he actually score it for Ricky, or?
I kind of favored Ricky the whole fight, you know. And I mean, who wouldn't do that? You know, if your boy's fighting, you'd probably, you'd probably be biased.
I mean, he had like a couple shots, but you never really seemed like wobbled or hurt, or it just was Terminator style, man. You hunted him down.
I had a better body language, if you want to say, in that fight. None of his shots really phased me or threatened me, you know, and they're all like flash kicks, you know, to my arms, and he might have gotten a little few punches, but nothing Nothing major.
I told Goes, I go, if anything, Ricky's aggression's killing him. Like, he should back off and then see if maybe you lead the dance. But you were playing off of him and just serving him up. I mean, it was a fucking disaster. But in that disaster, the other kid was still impressive. So if he's listening, I'm not trying to trash him. He's going to be a pro one day as well, probably in the UFC. But yeah, your performance was top notch. I'm glad you got that contract. It would have been a crime. And I thought it was 1 per week is what we were hearing. But it was 2.
Two contracts.
So Hollabaugh got one. You got one.
That's awesome too. I think more from a standpoint, if like Dana White looks at all the prospects, and some of them made the UFC, and some of them have a longer record. And you look at me, I'm still pretty green in the game. Supposedly I'm a big prospect, and I have a lot to offer for the organization in the future. And I think that's kind of what stood out with Dana White watching the fight. He's seen the potential and the talent that I have to bring into that bantamweight division, and he likes guys who stands up and showcase their boxing skills. And they talked about Cody Garbrandt, and my boxing is phenomenal. I've been fighting since I was a kid, and that's something that I can bring to the sport in mixed martial arts, which is being the #1 talk sport right now with boxing and MMA. So it's a privilege for me, and I'm excited to showcase my skill set for the UFC in the future.
Be honest. In the last 6 weeks, there was 2 events that you partaken in. All right. One was the fight against Ricky. The other was Extreme Couture versus MMAjunkie Radio and Flag Football. Which one was the tougher competition? Because at one point, I think it was 6-3. We were creeping up on you guys, and then you guys took that TD away from us.
It was 1-0 too at one point.
Yeah, we were up 1-0.
You guys scored first, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't on defense.
Did you have fun that day?
Oh, I had a lot of fun, but the first play, I injured my knee, but...
Did you
on
really?
The first play?
Yeah, that's why I came out. Yeah. No, the first play in offense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I injured my knee, and then...
I saw you play later on, though.
Yeah. Okay. I sat off a little bit, got warmed up, but that wasn't trying to
was
do
that
anything
scary
crazy.
at all? Then when you had
it
a
was,
fight?
because I got the phone call. I was like, oh, no, just the shit of my luck. If I happen to really injure this knee, then...
You got the call before or after?
I think it was the day before we played flag football.
Oh, wow.
I would have lost my shit if he told me. Because he told me before the game started.
Yeah, I told you that. Yeah, exactly.
So if he would have told me his knee.
Well, that and like I saw. Well, even
game,
Brad had a fight about a week ago as well. So the whole time I was thinking, when it was starting to get a little serious, we were jumping up for balls, but you never know if you're gonna land on someone's foot or whatever. It was flagged, but still, you just never know. And I remember. I think there was a sprinkler, so we were trying to let everyone know, be careful just in this area. But, wow, same day, huh?
Yeah.
It's crazy. When you guys told me you were going to do
that. That's how cool these guys are. Sorry, Dan. But that's how cool Extreme Couture was. Eric had gotten some sort of a nose surgery.
He got his mouth taken out. Yeah.
Well, what?
His mouth. They had to cut open into his gum line.
That, and then didn't he have some sort of a shin or ankle?
Well, we don't know if that's real. We thought they were trying to take us out of our game, but he said that he had put his
hamstring in practice.
All right. Well, I'm just saying these guys toughed it out. Eric could barely breathe. Brad had a fight. Boston had a fight. A few other the guys that were there. I mean, they played, and that was so cool of you guys to do that.
Thank you.
For our listeners and us, and we had a blast with you guys. And
it was a good time.
Yeah. But anyway, Dan, you.
Oh no, that's what I was just gonna say. Like when you guys first said that idea, I was like, really? I'm like, who are they gonna send out there? Because immediately I'm like, okay, who's got fights? And then even if who doesn't have fights, like, oh man, every time, like, I'm sure you can attest to this, like doing martial arts all your life, and you have friends who like basketball or this, and you get talk like, oh, let's go play this game. And maybe you did it a bunch of growing up in high school, but now when any of these athletes, when you go do something outside of fighting, that's where all of them get hurt. It seems like they always get hurt. Anytime they stop and just go to do something else that's not outside, they can be scrambling and hitting Granby rolls and not spraying a thing, but shoot a free throw, all hell breaks loose. Like
outside the cage.
Yeah, it's funny.
George, what do you think Dan's heart was that day? He told us the show a lot, right? And he's a big part of Junkie Nation, but he trains at Extreme Couture. We saw what Misha Tate did.
Misha sat in the middle.
In the middle, yeah, in the end zone.
I tried to invite her on our side, and she goes, that wouldn't go over too well. She goes, but I'm going to sit in the middle so you guys don't get me on.
That's why I didn't show up for that one. That's why I'm not showing up for that one.
I didn't realize how intense the game was going to be.
Me neither.
Eric just told me, he's like, yo, we're going to have a game. I want you to come out. Just you, Brad, we just need a few guys from the gym, and I think we'll be fine with MMAjunkie and stuff. And I didn't think you guys were going to have a whole squad lined up. So when I came there, I was like, oh, this is pretty serious right here. And all in all, I think we all had a good time, good experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we got to take this break. You're listening to MMAjunkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We have Boston Salmon in the house. Dan Tom is in the house as well. And Boston triggered something that that got my tail wagging.
Yeah.
He said, I've grown up fighting all my life, and I love them street fight stories. So we'll see if we can get one out of him when we come back. Again, it's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, March 93, Monday edition, July 17th. Stay close.
Yeah.
A lot of them came out.
So many of them.
To link into the MMA Junkie Radio Network, hit us up on Twitter.com at MMA Junkie Radio. This is MMA Junkie Radio. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're back. We got Boston Salmon in studio here with us out of Extreme Couture, a winner at Dana White's Contender Series. Week 1, got a UFC contract out of it. We also have Dan Tom in studio here with us, one of the best at analyzing the game. Quick shout out to Big Ralph from Tustin, California, along with his friend Al, who's in from Texas. They call him the Gator. Big Ralph said he was chomping at the bit to hear a good show, so he delivered MMA Junkie Radio to him. All right, let's get to the street fight stories here. Stories, Dan Tom.
Oh, geez.
So that one that you let it get out a little while ago, I may have to put you on the spot.
Okay.
But Boston, you got a good one to share with us?
To be honest, I fought a few times on the street in Hawaii. Growing up in Hawaii, you're light skin, and there's a lot of Hawaiians and stuff. And if you don't have a good name, you tend to get picked on. And fortunately, that wasn't me, because people knew that I had Hawaiian blood, and a lot of my relatives were Hawaiian.
A good name? What do you mean by a good name?
If no one knows about you or your last name, if you don't have a if you don't have a like a well-based last name, as far as in family. Because in Hawaii, it's kind of like territorial, if your last name is a well-respected name, then you get a lot of respect for you and your family, And so, my last name is Salmon, but my father's last name was supposed to be Melamai. My father was younger. Melamai is Hawaiian. It means sing to me in Hawaiian. But when my father was younger, his mother's sister adopted him, and her husband, that's how he took his name, because he got adopted. So Salmon is a Filipino last name.
Okay.
So that name got put down to me. But yeah, if you don't have if your family's not known in whatever city, then you could get some shit growing up as a kid. And that's kind of one of the reasons why my father put me into boxing. You know, I was, 6th grade. Took me to the gym. I was like, I don't want to box. I don't want to learn how to fight. I'm okay, I can do football. I want to do other sports. He's like, no, you need to learn how to fight. You need to learn how to protect yourself. You're a light-skinned kid in a tough community, and you need to learn how to fight. And honestly, didn't get into my first street fight until I want to say 10th grade. And then I fought a few more times. My high school in Waianae, there's street fights every day. That's something that you look forward to. Every day, 2:30 class or 3 o'clock class ends. They go across the street. All the Hawaiians meet up. There's a big circle that we call rings across the street in this little low income neighborhood, and people would fight. It'd be 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and even on campus there would always be fights. And it's so corrupt because even the security guards had to play with it, and the security guards would be like, "Yo, all right, you got 5 minutes before the head security comes. Make it quick." So that's something that I've experienced when I was a kid. And just everywhere you go, the whole mentality in Hawaii is a little different. No one really, plays with guns, or no one. There's no really violence like that where people kill each other. If you have a problem, you settle it on the street. And one thing I do say in Hawaii, a lot of people have pride. So when you go out there and you happen to stare at somebody, they're probably gonna tell you something. So that's the funny part in Hawaii. When you have a problem, you settle it on the street. Out here is a little different. And to be honest, out here I actually fought on the street more than I fought in Hawaii.
Yeah. Out here, we settle things on social media, dog. How we do it.
Yeah, well, before my whole mixed martial arts career, I got into a lot of fights, and being in college and stuff, just being that one reckless kid, having fun and just being around the wrong crowd and stuff. And I must have fought about 10 times out here in Las Vegas. I'm not happy to say, or I'm not happy to speak about it, but it happened, and I'm a better person now, and that will never happen again. You learn from your mistakes, In the last street fight that I got into, I broke my hand, so it's never worth that.
You're not happy with that answer.
Well, that's all fine and dandy. I'm glad you set it up. We learned more about you.
Right.
You talked about the name and all that. I've never known that about your name and how it, I guess, carries, what do we call it, street cred? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
It's last names, go far in Hawaii if, you got all these generations that come down from, the Hawaii or the Hawaiian genealogy, and it plays a big factor in the states of Hawaii.
Yeah, I second that.
And you said you did go to college?
I did out here in University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Okay. Did you wind up getting a degree, or?
Pretty short of that. I got 90 credits, 124 to graduate. So I've always told myself, once I can start working 2 jobs and take fighting full time, then I can go back to school full time. And
what's the major?
Hospitality management.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Smart guy. Yeah. Sounds like Vegas is going to be part of your future then for.
Absolutely. I don't. Maybe when I retire, I'll move back to Hawaii, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. I like it out here. It's a lot more convenient. No traffic. I love my training partners. I love my gym, and I get a lot more freedom out here in Las Vegas, and I'm very happy to be out here.
Well, one thing I'm sure you're not majored in is storytelling, because through all this, we didn't get the story. We didn't get the fight. But it was cool to learn more about you. But we're up against the commercial, so now we're going to let it marinate, and I want you, out of those 10 that you had here, the some that you had, whatever you had in Hawaii, pick a good one or two and then share it with us if you don't mind. Because if they're anything like that performance last Tuesday night, I can't wait to hear it, because that was a great fight, folks. It's on Fight Pass, right?
Yeah.
Folks, seriously, go back and watch, even if you just skip the first 2 and watch the last 3. Boston's fight was in there. It went the distance, but it was a classic. And the last 2 had some great finishes. So check it out on the UFC Fight Pass.
I want to go back and hear Snoop and Uriah.
Just to see what their angle was?
What can you even say? Because it's not like you can go, man, those guys are high. Because they probably were, right? What would you even say at that point?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg was signed. I believe they had a one.
Uriah admitted to being high, too.
Oh, Uriah, too? Oh, that's amazing. Even better.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to do a quick commercial and a sports update. When we come back, we'll be telling some stories. Boston Salmon in the house. Dan Tom in the house. We'll be right back.
In the daytime, if you see it once, you'll never be the same again.
Looks like the codec's going out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need someone to help me. I'm gonna need somebody's pain. I'm gonna need someone to hold me down. I'm gonna need someone to care. I'm gonna ride and shake my body. I'll start pulling out my hair. I'm gonna cover myself with the ashes of you, and nobody's gonna give a damn. Son of a bitch, give me a drink. One of the days, I'll escape this thing. Son of a bitch, if I can't get clean, I'm gonna drink my life away.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Want to let everybody know that tonight at 10 Eastern, the 2017 NBA Summer League concludes with the championship game. Here are all the fast-paced action from Las Vegas on NBA Radio, Sirius 207 XM 86, and on the Sirius XM app. That's not the end of the promo, though. Let me add something to that. The LA Lakers are in the finals of the NBA Summer League. What? That's right.
Look at him nodding his head over there.
Are you a Laker? You a Lakers fan?
My first name, Boston Celtics.
Oh, Boston Celtics. Okay. Well, I don't think they even made it to the semis or the quarters, did they?
I believe we got a. Did you guys make playoffs last year?
Why did a Hawaii guy, just because of the name?
My dad's a big Boston fan, and he had 3 names in mind. He was a Raider fan, but he's a Patriots fan now. But it was Boston, Raider, or Bullet. And my mom was like, I like Boston. Boston sounds a lot better than all those other names, so we're going to stick with Boston.
So you were almost Bullet Salmon?
Yeah.
Or Raider Salmon?
Bullet, Raider, or Boston. Boston.
Bullet wouldn't have been bad. Raider, not so much.
Not a Raider fan,
Speaking of the Raiders, the countdown to training camp is underway. Might as well get them both in right now. Stay tuned throughout the summer on all the latest 32 teams. For all the latest on 32 teams as they get set for the 2017 season. The only place to hear 24/7 coverage of the National Football League is SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88, and on the SiriusXM app. Boston Salmon joining us here in studio, as well as Dan Tom, and we are going to try yet again to get a street fight story out of both of these gentlemen. Dan, why don't you go? Why don't you set the table?
I'll lead off.
I think Boston thinks there might be repercussions still, or
this one,
the statute of limitations hasn't expired. He probably served someone up at UNLV, right? He wants to get that degree still.
I'll try to give him a good example here, but this wasn't my favorite security story. There's a lot from working at the Encore. That's kind of how we sparked this. But since we're talking about Floyd Mayweather and stuff, and that's what kind of sparked our off-air convo, so you wanted to hear this story, was we would get most of our action in security, because I would do security about midnight to 8 a.m. It's about 2009-ish area time and stuff. So we get a lot of the club runoff, and a lot of it was just drunk people from the club. Was a majority of the fights. But anytime Mayweather and his crew came in, we knew we were going to have a tough night of work for us, because they weren't just ones to start fights, and it wasn't ever Mayweather. It was his crew. It was always his entourage. Even his security guards were a little more mannered, because he actually had different ones than the ones you guys saw on this press tour. Like, he had this one dude, this giant dude. He literally was like 7 foot tall, 400 plus pounds, just a monster. And there would be drunk guys all the time just trying to go, oh, I think I can, F up Floyd Mayweather, and we'd have to hold him back. And this one guy in particular was pretty adamant that he had a shot against Floyd Mayweather, and we had to. Okay, first of all, sir, before you get to the world's best boxer, you see that giant monster out of the lab there. You got to get past that guy. If you take off his shoe, you know what's there? Another hand. You're not gonna get anywhere on that guy. Like, he's a monster. He'll tear you apart, and we would have to keep people from fighting him. And this one guy was so adamant about it. We had our attention on him, and meanwhile,
was this drunk college kids, or could you tell if they were other type of fighters?
They were just like club dudes in town for whatever. Maybe they were there to see a DJ, and they're just just like younger, just full of testosterone dudes. It's a Caucasian gentleman in particular, but he was getting egged on by Mayweather's security.
What would Floyd be doing at this time?
Floyd was drinking water bottles. He was just drinking. He would always just drinking water bottles, laughing. He wasn't even like dressed up that nice in a sweatsuit, but it was his crew that was antagonizing this guy. And while we're trying to hold back this guy, they're antagonizing him. A whole different group of herding dude bros come through. Think Floyd's group is talking to them, and this big brawl ensues. So our security's focused here, and now we have a brawl on on the other side of us.
On the casino floor or
casino
the
floor? Yeah, this is casino floor.
No
It's probably like
shit.
100. Yeah, right on Encore. It's about 100 yards outside of the club and probably about 100 yards to the door. So we're scrambling.
How has he not told us this before?
Trying to break.
Stun, get the stun gun thing. This stun gun.
This isn't even the best. This isn't even my best fight story. This was not that great actually.
So it's Floyd's gang against the group number 2.
Yep, group number 2. And
are blackjack tables getting flipped, or
it's actually near the tables, but no, nothing's getting flipped. I mean, there was drinks, dropped and glass broken, but not like people were breaking bottles over anybody's head. It was just people were getting knocked. It was kind of a sprawled out affair. So we're just trying to separate, and we're not punching anybody's security. We're trying, more kind of grappling based, trying to just sustain. And we had numbers there, but the problem was we had 2 different factions on both sides of us now. And we're trying to separate everybody. And we got to a point where we had the people separated as far as the non-Floyd party, because we have to assume Floyd's going to take care of his own party. And last thing we want to do is now have to get in a fight with drunk casino dudes and trained bodyguards. That's not what we're trying to do. So
did the trained bodyguards smash that group, by the way?
Yeah, they're in, and we're so in our heads we're trying to work together, even though we might not agree with their ethics and the fact that they're egging the fight on to begin with. We're trying to work together, and at one point I finally got we finally got these guys separated, and I have one guy kind of pinned to the door, and he mouse off, granted, but the other guy goes to punch him and hits me. And then, and then I turn,
a Floyd guy,
yeah, a Floyd guy,
okay.
And then I let go of the guy that was trying to get at him because it was a real cheap shot too, because he punched him and then ran out the door because this was right by the door, and they had their cars waiting.
But he got you instead.
He got me instead, and I find myself like letting go of the guy and going to chase after. Hey, what did you hit me for? And next thing you know, the guy I let go is side by side because now he's trying to go back to his objective to chase the guy. So now we go from fighting each other to having the same objective, right. And then I quickly parlay and realize what my job is. I'm on camera, and I quickly parlay, oh, you can't chase him, and act like I was just trying to stop him the whole time. I'm like, wow. But I got caught in the moment for a second. I'm like, you mother, because again, in street fights, the worst shots you usually take.
Where'd he hit you?
Is right here,
right
behind. Yeah, because I was grappling the other guy into the wall to keep him away, and then he tried to do one of those over the shoulders and then just hit me instead. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Before the guy ran off, did he at least go, my bad?
No. And he was a big dude too. Like, he probably could have turned around and smashed me if he wanted, like, hash it out with me. You probably would have smashed me. It wasn't the train of thought, and that's not exactly. They didn't exactly run themselves like professional bodyguards, even though they looked the part. So it was always a pain in the butt.
What happened to the original group? Did they become bystanders when the other fight broke out?
They just get 86 off property. It's tough. They have to do something really bad, which maybe you'll get the next story, where it involved us getting into a fight and then actually having to take someone into holding, because we actually have our own holding cells. We have our own Metro liaisons down there and everything. But if it's like a group like that, we're just trying to get them off the property. And I'm sure Boston, maybe I'm probably triggering street fight stories from his valet days and stuff that he's even seen. If he doesn't want to incriminate himself.
The valet's getting fights too?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
The valet? Why would you get in a fight?
You get guests that are heated and they want certain.
Why'd you fart in my car when you brought it up? What'd you do?
Never got that yet. But like when
you left all this pokey in my car.
We had guests coming in with Lamborghinis and stuff, and they give us attitude, and they're like, "Yo, take care of me, keep me up. I'm gonna be quick." But the way Vegas works out here, you take care of them right there, and then you get your up spot, And unless, like for Floyd comes in, he doesn't tip till after. But we know that. It's a guarantee where there's going to be $200 to $500 with his entourage.
For everyone, though, right? Or does it have to be you?
For everyone. Everyone, yeah.
So it doesn't matter who gets the car.
Yeah, we split all the tips.
Right. Floyd tips now.
Yeah, he's been a good tipper. Yeah, by far one of the best tippers we have at the Palms. And like I said, always $200 or $500, and I believe he even tipped more than that too when he has his whole entourage that come in and they party at the Palms. But it's always a disaster when they come in.
Well, give me a good valet fight story.
So personally, I've never fought, but we had this one guest that came in and he was asking for his car, and he kept coming out like in and out. He must have come out like 5 times within an hour. So I'm like,
so
dude,
he'd get something in the car and go back out, or would he get in the car and leave and come back?
No. So he comes into he comes down to valet. Can I get my car? We bring it up. It's parked. Can I get this out of my car? He's like, okay, cool. So we park the car again because we know that's usually how it works. Comes back down within like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, yo, I need something on my car again. I'm like, yo, like, we can't always be doing this, like get all your stuff out. So it's an inconvenience for us, and the fact that you don't tip every time, then like why should we, obviously we have to take care of you, but like I said, it's an inconvenience. But he kept coming out back and forth, and I'm not sure if I should say this, but if you don't tip, we leave all the ticket stubs on your your windshield wiper. So that's a sign of you not tipping, So I knew off the back that he wasn't tipping, but I was being cool.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was.
So
being
that's
cool.
to let the next hotel know, yo, man, this guy's a chump.
They all have their different secret theories, it all changes. But anyways, he wasn't tipping, and then I was being cool with him, I was serving him and picked up his car. He did it like 3 times already. So I approached him. I was like, "Sir, you can't always be doing that. It's an inconvenience for us. You need to get all your stuff, and that's it, And then he's like, all right, well, I just need my car one more time. So I go down because I know I parked the vehicle. So I went down, or I'm sorry, I'm in the booth. I'm looking for the keys. I can't find the keys. I'm like, oh, shit, what did I do with these keys? I just parked this car. Like, I'm going to get in trouble for this. And this guy is waiting for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, damn. And it was such an inconvenience because I thought my coworkers were setting me up. I'm like, are you guys doing this on purpose so this guy's, so he can wait? I'm like, are you guys setting me up? Because I'm about to get in trouble for this. So I kept telling my coworkers, like, yo, do you guys have the keys? They're like, no, why would we do that to you? Like, that's messed up. So there's like 3 of us in the booth looking for the keys. Cannot find it. I'm like, oh, man, about to get written up. So I go down. I apologize. I told the guys, like, yo, sir, I apologize. I parked the vehicle. I misplaced the keys. We're trying to look for the keys right now. And then he's giving me attitude in the meantime, just like, man, hurry the F up. And, just kept giving me shit for that. So I came back up. I couldn't find the keys. And then must have been about 10 minutes he was waiting at the booth. And then one of my coworkers so happened to find it. It was just like, it was misplaced. And we're all blind to seeing the keys. He finds it. So I have my shades on in the booth. And then at the time, we didn't have like a covering over. So we just kind of had like a little podium. And he's across, and then he's like, yo, maybe you should fucking take off your glasses, or maybe you should take off your shades the next time you look for my fucking keys.
Damn.
So I stop. I was like, yo, hold up. I was like, talk to me with respect. I was like, I've been being real sincere with you this whole time. I was trying to find your keys. I fessed up to it. I told you that it was my fault that I lost your keys, and we're gonna take care of it. I was like, you don't have to give me that attitude. You don't have to talk to me like that, sir. He's like, nah, man, fuck you. Like, I beat your fucking ass. Like, you don't have to. You guys have been giving me shit this whole time. No, I'm not gonna take care of you. Then I was like, yeah. I walked out the booth and I walked right into his face. I was like, yo. I was like, first off, hold on. You're waiting for about 5, maybe 10 minutes. I was like, we found your keys. I got your car up. You've been coming in and out for about 5 times now. I was like, what is the problem? I was like, you have your car now. He's like, man, fuck you guys. I'm not gonna tip you guys. I was like, you never tipped us from the get-go. And then he's like, man, get the F out of my face. I was like, at that time, I really didn't even care about my job on the line. Where I was like, dude, like, you don't respect me. You don't disrespect me like that. He started calling me the N-word. I was like, dude, fuck this. I'm about to fight at valet right now. So I got into his face. I was like, yo, what are you gonna do? He said, man, get the F out of my face. And then he ended up walking away. He's like, I'll see you when I come back out. I was like, yo, I get off at 3 o'clock. I'll be right here waiting for you. And then he looked at me, and a lot of people are like that, when they get into altercations, and when you finally mock their bluff, they're like, oh, okay, this guy's serious. Like, this guy can probably fight,
Right.
And I experience that all the time, at work or just in general when I'm around in the public. And it happens so many times, when you call someone's bluff and you're serious about it, then a lot of people don't want to fight. And so he opened the door and he was looking at me. I was like, my man, I get off at 3 o'clock. I'll be right here waiting for you. He's like, all right, I got you. And then 3 o'clock came, and I was just waiting. My coworker was like, "No, don't do anything. You're gonna get busted. You're gonna get fired. It's not worth it." I was like, "No, it's all good. Like, I'll handle my everything is all control." I was like, "Don't worry about me." So he came back out, didn't even look me into my eye, grabbed his key, ended up tipping my my supervisor like $5, and then that was it. And he just took off, and that was the end of the story. I looked him in his eyes. I was like, "We're gonna do something?" He didn't even look at me. He didn't even acknowledge me, and just tipped. Surprisingly, he could have stiffed my coworker, and then that was it. But tipped my coworker. So at the end of the day, I taught him a lesson, and he took off, and nothing happened then.
See, stories like that's actually pretty common. And I wasn't taking a shot at Floyd, by the way, earlier. For people who don't know, I actually was a doorman valet at Caesar's Palace Forum Shops for like 3 years, and this was like 2006 or 2009ish. And back then, Floyd would always come in and would never tip, would unload a bunch of cash like he was being filmed for an embedded show out of his center console to go buy stuff. And his bodyguards would actually come in most of the times like busted Cavaliers or like kind of crappier cars and of multi-different ethnicities, and none of them seemed to like their job or the way Floyd was taking care of them. Not all of them verbalized it, but you kind of just tell and read between the lines. So that's kind of where just for people thinking like, oh, he taking a shot at Floyd like and tipping, like
so what would
there's
he do
a history there.
What would he do with the brick of money?
We would door spot him, even though he wouldn't tip, because like Boston was saying, you always got to tip up front. Like, for example, I don't know what the rules is now, but like 20, for example, is usually a door spot. $10 or $5. If I was a doorman, I would write on their ticket like express. So if there was like 3 keys waiting, theirs goes to the front. Or there's also unwritten codes where maybe if I put a smiley face on a ticket, that meant this person wasn't nice. So you kind of just ignore that key for a minute, and then everybody has their own little things.
Is there a code for, man, this bitch is hot? You gotta pull her up, man.
That was this one guy, Foxy, Sean Fox. Anytime a hot lady would come up, pulling up in the car, and you go to get the door, you would just hear like a cartoon. You would just hear footsteps like getting louder, and I would get shoved out of the way. Like, hey, how you doing, miss? Here, can I get that door for you? He's like, oh, did you see her? Like, no, I didn't, Sean, because you kind of knocked me out of the way. Right. And so that's I mean, that was
so
the
Floyd never tipped you, huh?
No, and he was known for that too, as far as like others. And this was 10 years ago, so I believe what Boston said. That's good to hear. And again, actually, I heard it changed even sooner, because after that job, that's when I did the security for Encore. And I talked to their valet guys, and apparently even by like 2009, he started finally taking care of these guys and whatnot. So it's good to hear that he changed his ways. But yeah, back in the day, Money May was not a great, known for it too in multiple, because the industry world's real small. Whether you're valet, casino, a server, all these people, when you work on the strip here, you all kind of know each other. You all work
together.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic community, and that's why most of the fights are in the valet. Because if they have a bad dinner, if they lose money, if they have a bad date, if they get too drunk, all the above, they end. All that accumulates when they have to come and get their car to these guys. So as a valet, that's where I saw my most fights, even more than security. And that's why I was like, I thought even knowing Boston, I bet you he has a lot of stories that he probably can't tell. But
a few altercations at my job working valet. And
do you think you'd remember his face if you saw him, like if he was just out here?
No, but one of the altercations that I got into, actually, yeah, I do remember him, because we got into a same thing. One of my coworkers picked up his car and dropped it off, and then I could already tell we were in the booth, we were watching it. And then he was already like pointing out damage, and that happens all the time. You have a nice exotic car, you're always gonna look at it, but most of them are rentals. They're either being leased or they're being rented. Not a lot of guys own like exotic cars like that. But anyways, long story short, he was pointing it out, so I was looking at my coworker. I was like, "Yo, call security. They're gonna do a claim check, so they can take a look at the car." So the guy he looks back at us, and then he's like waving his hands at us, and then we're like, "Oh no, we're about to have another problem." So the guy comes up to the booth, and then he's like, "What are you guys laughing at? You guys think this is effing funny?" We're like, "Sir, we're not laughing at you. We're calling security. They're gonna take care of your car, see if they're gonna check surveillances and to see if the damage is already there." And he's like, "No, F that." He kept my coworker got involved, and he was like talking to him, and then ended up calling my coworker a fat fuck. And then my coworker took that personal. He's like, "Sir, don't talk to me like that." And he's like, "Man, get the F out of my face." And he called him the N-word. He's like, "Don't call me that." And then he just went off. He said it 10 times. N-word 10 times, multiple times, and I walked out, and I was trying to be cool to solve the whole situation. So I walked up to him, and I was like, "Yo, sir," I was like, just security's on its way. They're gonna take care of the whole incident. They're gonna check the surveillance to see if there was any damage that we did. If it happens to be us, we're gonna take care of it. He's like, "No, man, get the F out of my face." Call me the N-word. I was like, "Yo, you don't have to talk to me like that. I'm talking to you with respect." I was like, I expect the same thing back. And then he just kept pushing me, and then he's like, "Man," and then he just started getting all heated up, and he was like, "Man, I'll kill you." I was like, "Do what you gotta do." I stand up right in his face. I got into his face, and I was like, "Do what you gotta do. If you're gonna kill me right now." I was like, "Pull out your gun if you gotta." I was like, "Just believe you pull out the gun, I'm gonna knock your ass out." And then we were just getting into a confrontation, and then the security guards came, my coworker came, and that was it. I never seen him then. They ended up 86ing him off of the property, and then a month later he comes back, and then he gets busted for what did he get busted for? Long story short, he was a pimp, and he had like underage females in his room. So he got busted for a bunch of things. It was all over the news too. And then I was like, damn, like that was the guy that I actually got into the altercation with. I mean, I'm not sure.
This guy's trash.
Yeah, I was like, knock a wood. I mean,
I've seen pimps here, everywhere, and I just figured, all right, it's part of the Sin City hustle. But underage, come on.
Yeah,
man.
The girl must have been like 16, held her hostage, and I guess when he left, she called her family or called the cops. The cops came, and he got busted. And seen him on the news, the whole newspaper article. I was like, dude, that's the guy that I got into like a couple of months ago. That's the guy that I had an altercation with. So I was pretty. There's
certain hours of the night where Vegas is another animal. People don't know, like from like midnight to like 4:30. That was my favorite because like 3 or 4, if you're out by then, you're really like looking for trouble.
Yeah.
And then it's funny, 'cause especially the Encore's like a really nice place. So like just maybe a couple hours after, you know, we're having this crazy altercation with the Mayweathers, you know, camp and splitting up a fight. Maybe like an hour later, where the fight, some guy was bleeding, some girl threw up. Maybe an hour later, it's all quiet. The sun's coming up. There's an old person having their coffee, going, "What a nice establishment this is." And you're like, you have no clue what just happened where you're sitting, miss, like 2 hours ago. Like,
I wouldn't have thought that at the Encore in the Wynn. That just seems so like upscale.
Just the crowd that you get into, you know, always happens. You know, you get. My father always told me nothing good happens after 11 o'clock. You know. And when you got alcohol involved, you got all these other drugs involved, and like you said, just testosterone, that's never a good thing. And even working at, you know, the pools, or you experience it all the time, where people, you know, just bump heads and like for the little things get into fights and stuff. But that's what the world is today, you know.
Now, you've shared some great stories with us, but I got to tell you, I was looking at the fight metrics, and so far you've yet to land a significant strike or a takedown or a submission attempt. Like, I want to hear a story where you're engaged in something, you know.
Yeah, you can take us back to Hawaii, wherever you need to go.
Like, things kind of fizzle out.
We're talking about street fighting?
Yeah.
Okay, so one street fight, this was, I was still underage, and, you know, sorry mom, sorry dad, but I had some alcohol in me at the time, you know. It never supposed to happen, but, you know, it happened.
How old were you?
Must have been like 19 or so.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad, but legal age is 21.
When I went to Hawaii in '87, after high school, it was 18. How about that? It changed.
Oh, okay.
It really did.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
That's
Wow.
why I had to get a fake ID, and I'm way past the statute of limitations there too. So
you got that McLovin ID.
No, it was way
bad.
What? What?
Yours was just not as bad as McLovin, but it was bad.
I had 2. You only saw one version.
I saw Rocky Garcia.
I had a real Rocky
and then I saw Anthony Carrera.
I have one. Oh, no. I got to show you Anthony again. There's no way anybody would ever.
No, I'm just saying name-wise, Rocky Garcia.
Oh, I bet you that was there was a creepy picture to go with that.
Anthony Carrera was legit. Seriously, it was as legit as you could get.
You still have it?
Yeah, I can show it to you. I came across it.
Okay.
All right, but let's not let Boston
so anyways,
squirm out of another one here.
Yeah.
I'm using my brother's ID. There's 2 of my friends that are with me. One of my 2 of my childhood friends.
Where were you again? Sorry.
I was in one of the nightclubs in Hawaii.
Okay.
I believe it was O Lounge at the time.
All right.
And it was like 18 and over. So if you're 18, you know, they mark an X on your hand, so you can't drink.
Right.
Then anyone 20 over can't drink at the bar. But we're out there. We're having a fun time. This one kid just bumps me, and I didn't think it was a big deal. He bumps me, and then I looked at him, and he looks back. He's like, "Yo, watch where you fucking walking." I'm like, "Okay, like, not a big deal." So we're having fun, you know. We're dancing in the club. Then he checks me again. I'm like, "All right, this guy got issues. No, he got a problem with me." And then he's like, I was already drunk already. I mean, I had a few drinks, and I was giving my friend them drinks, and I was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be a fun night." Until that eventually happened. So, you know, I didn't think it was a big deal. He's like, "All right, well, let's go outside, let's fight." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I'm all dressed up, and at the time, that's when jerseys were popular. So I had a Kevin Garnett. This was 2008, I believe, or 2009. This is when Boston Celtics beat
the Lakers.
Lakers. You remember that? Beat the Lakers. So I had a Kevin Garnett jersey on. And that's, you know, that was the kind of like the fashion back in the day. So I had that. I had a nice white shirt. I had Air Force Ones on. I thought I was dressed pretty nice, you know. So I go outside. I use the restroom in the parking lot. And then just like a huge crowd is just like circling. And I look at my friends. I'm like, yo, we're about to fight right now. This is crazy. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll take care of it. I was like, don't worry about it, boys. Just, you know, catch my pack. Just make sure no one, you know, sucker punches me. So I take a pee. Then I look back. I'm like looking at the kid. And then he has like Muay Thai trunks on. I'm like, with his mouthpiece on. I'm like, damn, this kid came prepared, you know. And a little inside joke is funny because when, like in Hawaii, when you go out, people actually like, you know, they prepare themselves. You know, they might have a mouthpiece in the back of their pocket just in case. You never know what's gonna happen. You know. But anyways, I look back and he's like in his Muay Thai trunks. So I'm like, wow, this kid is serious.
So he changed. It's not like he was rocking those in the club, right?
No, yeah.
Okay,
he went to his car and he put on, you know, fighting apparel. So I was like, damn, what a clown. So we're like jumping around, and I have my chain on, I have all my clothes. You know, I didn't take off any of my clothes. I left my shoes on. I have my whole outfit on.
Would you have left if you would have took off some neck attire and put it on a pole as well?
With the, what is that, Muay Thai stuff on the elbows and stuff? Yeah, so anyways, we're jumping around. Then I swing at him, and I catch him with like a flush 2-3. and then he backs up, and then he's like trying to swing at me, and then he takes a shot. Then I stuff his head on the ground, and then I push him off, and then he's like holding his shoulder, like, oh, I popped my shoulder. I was like, no, come on, let's keep on fighting, you know. And then I went to go feel my chest, and then I couldn't find my chain. And back at the time, like chains are, you know, I bought it for, my mom bought it for me for $3,200, so it was had a lot of sentimental value to it, you know. So when I lost, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, I need to find my chain. So at the time, I didn't even care about fighting. So I looked at my friend. I was like, yo, where's my chain? And from his story, he was saying that he's like, yo, your chain flew off. A girl grabbed it. She threw it to somebody else. They grabbed it, and I like freaking snatched it out of her hand. And my father's wedding ring was on it too.
Whoa.
And that came off too. So I was like, oh man, like this is gonna be bad. So at the time, I was just focused on my chain. He ended up finding my chain. I was like, okay, cool. So we stand back up. We're fighting
with
again.
the ring.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how that happened because there were so many people involved, and I'm not sure how he found that. So I thank him to this day. His name is Kaika Castro. I thank him to this day. I'll never forget about that day. And then so we stand up. He pops his shoulder back in, and then we're fighting again. Cops come, and then he runs. So we could kind of like hear the siren. So I mean, they didn't officially come yet. So we're all talking. He kept running, so we stopped. And then obviously I was a little buzzing and whatever. So there were like 10 of them. So I told them, I was like, yo, if any of you guys, you guys got a problem, I was like, call me tomorrow when I'm sober. We can settle this, and we can fight again. We can do this 1-on-1. And then they kept talking back and forth, and then not knowing his brother was on the side of me, he just sucker punched me. Boom. Then I kind of like backpedaled, and my friend caught me, and I was like, just in daze, I was like, damn, like I just got whacked. I wasn't unconscious, but.
Were you mad at your crew? Because they're supposed to be watching
No, so
that.
they didn't see that. So he hits me, and then my friend freaking runs on him, and then they're fighting, and then they get jumped on, and everyone's like kicking them, and then I knock my sense back into a place, and then I start chasing the brother, and then he's running away, and the cops come, and then it was just a big mess, and we ended up getting away. My friend drove. He was sober. He drove us home, and I woke up the next morning. I was like, damn, like I had a little cut on my eye, and that was it. And then I just woke up the next morning like that could have been all bad, and that's why you don't drink when you're underage. You listen to your parents.
Did he tear the Celtics jersey at all? Because I
No,
think the next year they went on sale. Right?
How are you going to say that? Because 2010 we went to the championships and lost to you Lakers, so that was never on sale. No one's ever going to forget about the big three. And
that was a great story. That was off the chain. I like it.
I got more stories, but that one was a little more, more intact, and I can actually talk about that fight.
I liked it. That was a good one. All right.
Bringing me back to Hawaii over here.
All right. So we got to take a commercial here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We have Boston Salmon in the house. We have Dan Tom in the house. And we have Brandon Girtz coming up. been thinking about it for like 3 days.
King Kong has a lot of shit on them. Like a lot, especially Goes. Here, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Want to give a big shout out to Bert Watson. It's his birthday today. Babysitter to the stars, good friend of MMAjunkie Radio. If you're listening, Bert, I hope you have a great day with family and friends. We're joined by Boston Salmon, UFC bantamweight, here in studio with us, co-hosting the last 90 minutes. Dan Tom as well, the MMA analyst. Chilling, and I'm playing for them. Now, Dan, you saw the fight. Boston hasn't, so I'm playing it as we interview our next guest. We are watching, and you can see this, folks, on the front page of MMAjunkie, Brandon Girtz versus Derek Campos, a fight that took place this past Friday night, Bellator 181 in Thackerville, Oklahoma. We're now joined by Brandon Girtz. What's up, Brandon? How you doing?
What's going on, bro? I'm doing all right.
Welcome back to MMAjunkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes. Pleasure to have you on. Hey, man, you know, I can hear it in your voice. Obviously, you wish things would have gone differently. But let me tell you something. As a fight fan, that was a pleasure to watch on Friday night. You guys really put it out there for all the fans in Thackerville, Oklahoma, but just all the people that have watched it over and over at home. That was something else, man. You and Derek Campos. Props to you both.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Like I said before we went, it was going to be a war. Definitely was.
It sure was. And Brandon, so let me ask you this, respectfully. Like, just everything's power, huh? Everything's just destruction, like, from your end, or is it Derek Campos that pulled it out of you that night?
You know what? That's how I usually go, man. I just try, you know. I'm throwing to put someone out. I ain't just out there pitter pattering, you know. And Campos, damn, dude. Campos took some hits. You know, I don't know what hurts more right now, my forehead or my hands.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason I ask is because there's some punches that you throw. Like, for example, we just saw a counter right hook that you throw that's so on point, and it was on point that night. There it is again. That one was more of a looper, and it caught him in the back of the head. We're watching here as we talk to you. But a couple of those are just, they come from like precision that looks so good. So again, I just couldn't tell if at some point you just, you know, you guys draw it out of each other that you have to throw so hard.
Well, definitely when you get a formidable opponent in front of you, you definitely, you know, you pull down deep. I always say when I get a good fighter in front of me, that definitely brings out the fight in me.
Yeah, you know, it was really interesting to see you guys line up your outside foot just to see who would just come right down the middle. I mean, you guys were popping each other hard. Talk about that fight. I mean, what became more important? I mean, I know you were always hunting for the win, but were you preoccupied with, like, finishing him? Could you tell it was just a great fight and you just wanted to put it all out there? Like, what was going through your head during this fight?
I mean, definitely going out there to finish him. That's what I was looking for. I mean, going out there every fight, and that's what I'm trying to do. There it was definitely, I mean, we were battling it out, man. I could see plenty of times when I had him hurt, you know, and I was going for the kill. He was coming in, and shit, dude, there was just a lot of blood.
It sure was. We're joined by Brandon Girtz here on MMAjunkie Radio. All right, Goes, what do you have for Brandon Girtz?
Brandon, the way the fight ended, does that give a proper ending to a trilogy, or do you feel like there's still unfinished business there?
You know, it definitely sucks. I definitely feel like there's unfinished business. Am I yelling out, I want to fight Derek? You know, I like Derek a lot. You know, it's definitely, we go out there, it's one of the guys I've liked the most I've ever fought. You know, so it's hard to say I want another fight. Definitely, I do feel like there's a lot of unfinished business. I wanted to see that third round. You know, I felt great. So it hurts. It hurts how it ended.
How was Derek this time around? Out of the 3 times that you fought him, do you feel like every time he gets better?
I definitely feel like Derek's just becoming more confident in himself. Really, I don't see much of it. He's a tough dude. I'm not seeing much of a technique change point yet, but he's just a tough dude that's starting to believe in himself even more.
Was there any sort of consolation looking on social media that night and even bleeding into the next day, seeing all your peers and what they were saying about the fight and just how many people were standing up on their feet watching at home.
Yeah, definitely started looking at it now. I just started last night and today, and just kind of, it definitely helps. Put it on their line, definitely for the people that have been supporting me, my whole life, and I just want to go out there and make them proud, So it definitely feels good, for that part. And it always feels good when you go out there and you put it all out there, you didn't hold anything back.
So, Brandon, I didn't get the chance to watch the fight live, but I saw it the next day. Bellator had put out a tweet, which led to the link. As I watched it, obviously it was awesome, man. I loved it. But what I want to know is they kind of just skipped to the end where, so in other words, when the second round ends, they pull you guys to the corners, and then when you guys come back, at that point we can tell the fight's over. What was that process in between the rounds, and what was discussed, and what was the decision they came to? It was just that forehead gash was just too deep, because it definitely looked like it wasn't trickling into your eyes, but rather down your nose.
Man, it was absolutely terrible. I mean, just sitting there in between rounds, I thought we were going into a third round. No one said a word to me while we were still sitting there, and the cutman was fixing it. Doctor didn't say we were stopping it. Nothing, I thought we were going into a third round. All they kept telling me is, we're not going to stop it if it doesn't get worse. And all I could hear is, it hasn't gotten worse. I'm hearing all the right things, and then third round's about to start, and they're like, nope, there's no third round. And, it was just baffling. Like I said, I was feeling good, and they were telling me there was no change in the cut from the minute it happened to then. I didn't feel like I was really taking damage into the cut. So it hurt, man. Like I said, I was ready for a third round. I thought I was doing what I had to do.
Wow. Just like that, huh? And this was immediately after the doctor checked you out, or did he consult? Like, where did he come out of that decision?
No, there was no. I had no feeling. I thought we were going into a third round. I thought it was all discussed. Doctor never said I'm stopping it or anything like that. So I thought I never got a chance. I think he got out of the ring and then said it's done because he didn't want me to plead with him or something. I don't know, So that's why it was, it's pretty painful. Like I said, I was ready in my heart. I was already going into a third round, and to have it just like scrapped like that, it felt really awkward.
Brandon Girtz, our guest here on MMAjunkie Radio. All right, Dan Tom, what do you have for Brandon Girtz?
Brandon, first of all, result aside, thank you for the performance and for the fight. Yeah, it was really exciting. Obviously, I can't speak too highly on it because I'm sure you're disappointed because clearly you could have kept going, and so you felt. And obviously, that's how you're going to feel. And obviously, you don't want to take anything away from Derek, who has a good poker face. But I will ask you what you thought of the momentum. We always get a different perspective as the viewer, whereas the fighter, you have a completely different perspective. Obviously, you're actually in there. And again, the reason why I ask that is because A, Derek has a great poker face, but B, as a southpaw, you get a little bit more bang for your buck on your body kicks because you're getting that liver side, and you hit him a whole bunch with those, especially early, and it looked like it almost, he had to stop and get his breath a bit a couple of times. I mean, did you sense, I know you took it on short notice, but it felt like you were equaling out the gas tank. So I guess my question is, how did it feel, doctors call aside, obviously, how did it feel if you were to have gone into a third round with Derek?
Yeah, I definitely thought I was, winning the momentum. I thought I was the one, pushing the pace and landing the strikes. Like you said, I was watching Derek's face, and it definitely wasn't of happiness. And I thought the third round was going to be mine. I really felt like I was the one coming forward, and I was the one really hurting somebody. I mean, he had a great combo. I never take it away from Derek because I landed some shots I thought should have put him away, and that man freaking came back. I mean, I saw him go away for a second, and he came back. So there's only ups to Derek, man. He's a tough dude. Like, there's not a lot of people out there I feel that could take those shots that he took on Friday night. That's for sure. But yeah, man, I felt great. The really bad thing that happened was that I think he landed a 3-piece on that same combo that made the cut. I felt like that was really the only time I really felt like I got nailed. So I really wanted that third round. I definitely was coming in there feeling I had the momentum.
100%. And it's crazy too, because you can't really say like, you could have really, I can't really ask you, well, did you fight with a different urgency? Because anybody who watched your fight, you came out from the opening 10 seconds like you were already cut, and a fighter who was down 2 rounds, which I love, by the way. I love seeing fighters that kind of come out with that. But it was almost kind of crazy because it wasn't like there was any room. It seemed like you could press the gas because you were already going full force. And again, it's a shame we couldn't see it, you finish out the race on your terms, so to speak. But I can only imagine if you guys get booked up that you're going to be picking up right where you left off in that third round to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think I think me and Derek come to fight every time, and that's what you get when you get 2 fighters like that. I mean, we're out there to swing, So I think every time you see me and Derek step in the cage, that's what you're going to get.
So with about less than 2 minutes left in the second round, the doctor examines him, and I remember him telling him, if it gets worse, I'll stop it. So the doctor must have determined that within these last 2 minutes of action, it must have got worse, but I didn't see that it did. It looked like it was the same cut that he looked at early on. Brandon, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's definitely. I was just gonna say that's definitely what hurt. Just because he was saying that, and then they said it's not gotten any worse. So that was painful.
Yeah. All right. Now, on a lighter side, have you seen the I don't know what they're calling it. That they're saying that your cut resembled the Jordan symbol and all that. Like, is that something you laughed at, or is that something you weren't too happy with?
Oh, I chuckled at it. That's I could see it. I could see it. So and it's not nothing I'm going to get upset about. It's definitely one of the biggest scars I've ever had. That's for sure. So. Like I said before, I represent my scars, man. I'm out here doing stuff.
How many stitches did it take to close up that bad boy?
33 stitches.
Whoa.
Now, I do feel like he just did a really great job, because it was the doctor that stopped the fight that did the stitching. So I think he put a few extra stitches in there just to make me look pretty. But it took some stitches.
Did you talk to him then afterwards as to officially why he stopped the fight, being that 1 minute and 50-some seconds beforehand he seemed to let it go, and the cut doesn't look much different?
I wanted to, but the dude was back there working on my head. I didn't really want to get into a argument. It was kind of what was going through my head. He said some stuff about, say from the get-go about, just for your and safety, and, and I wanted to say I strongly disagree, but the dude was back there stitching up my skull. So yeah. I kind of just held in, man, and, at the end I told him I wish he wouldn't have stopped it, but, that's all I could say at the time. Like I said, he was stitching up my skull, and I wasn't about to get into a heated argument over it.
I hear you. All right. Well, listen, thank you very much for doing the show. Great to get a little bit of your perspective from this awesome fight that you had with Derek Campos. It didn't go your way, but again, it doesn't appear like there was any. It looks to me like there was 2 winners that night. So can't wait to see you fight again. Get rest up, heal up, and hopefully before your next fight we can catch up again.
God, brother, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Brandon. All right, folks. That's Brandon Gertz. We're going to go to commercial here. When we come back, we'll close up shop. We got Boston Salmon here in studio with us, and Dan Tom. And we have to talk about Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Gunnar Nelson. That happened on Sunday, so we'll give our thoughts there, and then we'll get out of here. All right, folks, stay close.
Sometimes I think sitting on trains, every step
Yeah, you. Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
All right, a couple things here. The Lakers playing in the finals of the NBA Summer League. Good luck to them. Manchester United takes on Real Salt Lake. That's at 7 p.m. And I believe it'll be on ESPN2. The Lakers, what they say about the Lakers. You can catch that on Sirius 207 XM87. I'll tweet out if there's a TV component to it, but I believe ESPN's also had that as well. Want to thank all of our guests today. Brandon Girtz at Brandon Girtz MMA. Thank you to Ed Cap for setting that up. Dan Tom at The MMA Analyst. Thanks to Goes for setting that up. Boston Salmon at Boston Salmon. Thanks to Goes for setting that one up. Good job, Goes, today.
Thanks.
Bert Watson, again, happy birthday to you. Boston.
I set that up too.
Question for you. Who are some other good tippers that you came across?
The big boss, Dana White.
Yep. Dana White?
Yeah. Absolutely. $100 in, $100 out, no matter what. If he's using the restroom or playing blackjack for 5 to 10 minutes, he's always $100.
So when he gets out of the car, it's 100 and 100 on the way out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Floyd was either 200 or 500.
That's the most I've seen.
Any others?
Not that I can think of. That one actor played John Wick. What's the
Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves. I forget his name.
I can second on him on the Dana White thing, though. I mean, between my valet and my security job, both the top tips I ever got in those jobs were from Dana White. He was always 100 in, 100 out for the valet, like Boston said. But for the security, I actually got the you guys heard about that epic secret birthday party Dana White had with the Stone Temple Pilots and stuff? I actually worked that, and I traded shifts with the guy who got the door shift to let everybody into that secret party, and I actually worked the encore that night and got to stand in the doorway and watch that whole concert. And like at the end of the night, Dana White and like Joe Sil, everybody kind of comes down. They're all just trash, right? And Dana's wife's got like all his gifts and stuff, and they're going to the secret, not the secret, but it's like secret elevator to the VIP rooms. And I knew they were headed there, so I was like, hey Dana, I'll take you over there, you know, yada yada. We're all like in suits with like earpieces, so he knows like I'm with the casino. And so I'm escorting him through, and I guess someone gave him like a megaphone, and he's just drunk. And he gets on the megaphone and starts like saying stuff, like not anything bad or anything, but he's like just having fun, you know, like turning it on in the casino. And I'm like trying to politely, like, because it's Dana White, and you know, I respect the guy, you know.
What was he saying?
And well, I just just like, hey everybody, you know, just like being like a like a drunk college kid having fun, like nothing bad or anything, like just having a good time. But I didn't want it to get out of hand where like other security didn't know who Dana White was so much. So I gave the microphone to his wife, and his wife was like playing ball, like trying to help, you know, steer him in the safe direction. And we get to the elevator, and he's great. He was just, you know, polite the whole way. And Danny's like, "Here, let me get you something, kid." Pulls out like a wad of hundreds, flips up one, looks at me, and then gets two more, gives me $300. And I think I went and bought a PlayStation with that, and I think I still have it, and I just use it to play DVDs.
No sharing of the tips there, huh, Dan Tom?
Oh well, we didn't pull tips for security. Security, yeah, we pulled tips for valet, but you know, for security, it wasn't a tipping job. It was just if you end up in some weird scenario and someone wants to tip you, well, there you go.
I didn't know. All right.
And also that was the first year, and that was the first year where they took us out of the dealer tokes too. So we would have to go around and collect all the tokes for the gamblers. And if you guys don't know, tokes are like tips, and it's actually a pretty big pull and payout, and usually security was with it, and they actually voted to have security out of it. Security was getting no money, and we were having to collect, control, and guard everybody else's tips and stuff. So yeah, we didn't feel bad if we came across tips every once in a while, but it was few and far between. But Dana White, he holds scoreboard in both jobs.
Yeah, he's solid for sure.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised how many celebrities that come in that don't take care of the industry people. You know?
Yeah,
let's hear one.
You got a lot of rappers. I mean,
Saw one down. Why not? What's he gonna do? Beat you up?
So Tyga is one rapper that, you know, he talks about money all the time.
That's the one that dates the little Kardashian?
He used to, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, he's never tipped.
Just zero, huh?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
And it's strange too, because I guess when you hit that standpoint when you're super, you know, popular, you're famous, you expect things to be priority, you know. And it doesn't work like that in Las Vegas. You know, everyone's about money. It's a tipping industry, and you got to take care of your people. A lot of people don't. A lot of celebrities don't see that, you know. And you'd be surprised how far $20 can get you. You know, from a bellman or a doorman or a valet, that gets you pretty far. Even securities. If you give a security $20, they're thankful. You know, that can get you a long way.
Should call him to change his rapper name to Lil Stingy.
Hey, high-end restaurant guys, tip $20 to the maitre d'. That's all I'll say. You'll have a much better experience for the rest of your meal. Maybe even some stuff will be knocked off the bill. This is a weird tipping on your way in culture.
Yeah.
If you were to look at your phone right now and Tyga were to tweet you, heard what you said on Junkie Radio, watch your back, bitch. Would you tweet him back or just laugh it off?
Of course I tweet him back. You know, that'd probably hit TMZ. And hey, if he wants to set up a celebrity match, let's make it happen with the Mayweather and McGregor.
There you go. Hey, what's your prediction? We got 30 seconds. Quick prediction.
Mayweather by decision.
You think he lasts 12 rounds, huh?
Probably, yeah. I don't see Mayweather by decision. McGregor's a tough guy. I see it going the distance. You know, I've always told myself, I told a lot of fans, a lot of people that look at the fight, if Pacquiao couldn't put away Mayweather, if Cotto couldn't put away Mayweather, if Canelo couldn't do it, all these great fighters, if they can't do it, what makes you think McGregor can do it?
Thanks for doing the show. We got to bounce. Thank you, though.
No problem.
Folks, go out there and be champions.
If you see it once, you'll never be the same again.
Hold on. I gotta go start the recording over again. Hold on.
All right, folks, we're sticking around for a little overtime here. We had said we had bid our adieus, but then Boston threw a nugget at us. It turns out.
Dang, you made that out.
I'm just a devil with love.
You guys started a little earlier than
How I wish that there were more than 24 hours.
All right, here we go. Sorry. We're doing a little bit of overtime here because just as we were about to do the NBA hug and go through the fist bumps and all that stuff and thank Boston for being on the show, somehow this deal comes up here where he may have a role going forward. Boston, tell us what happened there where Mayweather's camp reached out to you? or
Yeah, so after my fight, I'm looking at the text right now. It was a day after my fight, and one of my good friends that's in the whole boxing industry.
Let me have you raise up your mic just a little bit, please.
So after my fight on July 11th, the next day, Wednesday, one of my good friends in the boxing industry contacted me, and he texted me that he was like, "Congrats on your win. Are you interested in some sparring?" And then I told him, I was like, "Thank you." I was like, "Who do we have, Floyd?" And then he's like, he responded. He's like, "Yeah, how did you guess?" And I texted him back. I was like, "Because I'm the best southpaw bantamweight in the UFC." And then he's like, "Damn right. If you're interested in some sparring, it might happen in the future to help out Mayweather for a McGregor camp. So I'll keep you posted." And I told him that I'd love to be a part of the champs camp, and let's make it happen.
There you go.
How you like that?
Yeah. All right. Have you ever done anything like that with a professional boxer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That level?
The last professional boxer that I helped get ready was Jesse Vargas, and I believe that was the fight right before Pacquiao, and that took place at Top Rank Gym, and that was a good experience for me. I've sparred with a lot of good fighters, Chris Audrey as well. A couple of fights before he started making it in the bigger ranks with Provocative and stuff. I sparred with him here at UNLV and became good friends ever since. And I fought a lot of good fighters that are in this game to this day. Errol Spence, he's another credible fighter that's going to be a world champion, or he is a world champion one day. But I feel like once that Mayweather era is over, Errol Spence is going to take over, and definitely another boxer to look out for.
You don't have to divulge numbers, but a lot of people know that in boxing, sometimes getting a sparring gig for like maybe 2 weeks could maybe even be more lucrative than actually taking another MMA fight, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially a fight camp like Floyd Mayweather. I've heard rumors that he pays his sparring partners really good, and a lot of fighters, benefit from that. Just getting that attention and that experience of being with the best boxer in the game. And if that opportunity presents itself to me, then I'm taking advantage of it. It'll be a huge opportunity for myself.
Man, that's cool. I like
very
that.
cool.
But, since we did this overtime and we ran out of time before we exited, I just wanted to ask you, do you really think Conor has the skills to stay with Floyd for 12 rounds without getting knocked out?
You never know. Conor's been he's been surprising everybody in this fight game. No one thought he was going to knock out Jose Aldo like that, but every fighter has a puncher's chance, and I truly believe that, if you have that faith, if you have that passion in the sport and you have that love and you believe in yourself, you can make anything happen. Nothing's impossible. And to see Conor McGregor at the spotlight that he is, making things happen like that for the fight game, for UFC, for boxing, is amazing, man. They're gonna break records, and so what happens if he were to win this fight? That's a whole nother era. That's the McGregor era right there. Floyd is a respected fighter, and he goes on as one of the greatest ever. But if McGregor were to happen to win that fight, that would just be a whole nother scene right there. And I could see McGregor just taking over the whole fight game eventually, if he happens to win this fight. But
there's no doubt about that. If McGregor won this fight,
the king,
that would be something else.
What could you possibly say?
That would be honestly something else. But I just don't think he's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be close. And in fact, then he gets back to MMA, and he's got some monsters waiting for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he's kind of given up. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it looks like 45. The ship has sailed. He's a big dude, the weight cut.
He has a hard time making 45.
Right.
You got killers at 55. You got my boy Kevin Lee making his way to that belt too.
Kevin Lee,
kid's a stud.
Right. And speaking of Jesse Vargas, did you see that interview he did where he was looked like he was going to a picnic? It was like a park setting.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy was doing a video interview, and Vargas revealed that Conor's been knocked out in training. He said the boxing circle is tight, and we've talked. First, he hinted towards it may have been Brandon Rios, but then Brandon Rios was asked about it, and he didn't really confirm it. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is here, but
why would Rios be sparring with Mayweather or McGregor though? He's not a southpaw.
I don't know. So I don't know if that was like a story from a while back or what it was. But yeah, there you have it. Anyway, so thank you again for sticking and doing some OT. Congrats on your contract.
Thank you so much.
Do you know when you'll fight again? Like, any idea what did they tell you?
Actually, I'm going to turn in the contract today. It's a 4-fight contract, so hopefully we can, make the best out of that. But I told my manager, try to get me in as soon as possible. I mean, a month or 2 months would be, ideal. I know Max Holloway is going to fight in November, I believe, and my manager was saying that Max was saying that he wants to have me on the same card as him, so that would be a privilege. That would be an honor to have a few Hawaiians on that card. He has a huge following. I have a decent following in Hawaii as well, and that'd be a amazing opportunity for me to fight on the same card as Max.
Who's your manager?
Brian Butler, Sucker Punch.
Oh,
Brian
cool. Yeah,
Brian Butler.
Solid.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, Dan Tom, and talking fights. I guess we'll see Ponzinibbio and Gunnar Nelson for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That was a vicious KO. Nelson started in on him early on and hurt Ponzinibbio. And then
great card
I wouldn't say backed off. I mean, how many times have we seen someone rush in and also get caught? But he, as the fight continued, Ponzinibbio nailed him and was able to finish him himself.
Striking off the break, one of the most punishing ones.
Yeah, so that happened. Cinta Calvillo defeated Jojo Calderwood. So, again, we'll touch on all this when we come back tomorrow. But good stuff happened in Scotland. I really, really enjoyed the card. All right, folks. So, for Boston, for Dan, for Goes, and Danny back east, I'm George. Go out there and be champions.